I told you not to come. My mother's voice was calm, almost rehearsed, as she stood in the doorway, blocking the warm glow of Christmas lights behind her. We all agreed you weren't welcome this year. The word all didn't hit me at first. It echoed a second later, heavier, colder, like something final.
All.
Not just her. Not just my father. Not just my sister. Everyone. I stood there on the porch of the house I grew up in, holding a neatly wrapped box that suddenly felt ridiculous in my hands. Snow had started falling again, soft and silent, covering the driveway I had memorized as a child. "Mom," I said quietly. My voice didn't sound like mine. It sounded smaller, like I had shrunk 10 years backward, without warning. She didn't move. She didn't soften. Her fingers tightened slightly around the doorframe.
"We talked about this," she said.
We made a decision. Behind her, I could hear laughter.
Familiar voices.
Glasses clinking. My sister, Charlotte Monroe, laughing too loudly, like she always did when she wanted to prove she was happy. My father, William Monroe, speaking in that controlled, authoritative tone that filled rooms without effort. They were all inside, celebrating. Without me. "Who is we?" I asked. It came out sharper than I expected. For a moment, something flickered across her face.
Guilt.
Then it was gone. "Your father." "Charlotte." "A few others." She didn't say their names. She didn't have to. The silence filled in the rest. Family friends. People who had watched me grow up. People who used to hug me, praise me, include me. People who had apparently voted me out, like I was some kind of problem to be solved. "I drove 2 hours to get here," I said. My breath came out in a cloud, thin and uneven. "I didn't know there was a vote." Her jaw tightened. "That's because you stopped listening a long time ago." That landed harder than anything else, because it wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, controlled. Like she had practiced saying it without emotion. I looked past her again, just for a second. I caught a glimpse of the tree, the same one we used every year. Perfectly decorated. Exactly the way she liked it. Red and gold ornaments. White lights.
No variación. No surprise.
No change. Just like this moment. Predictable. Rigid.
Cold.
"I'm not leaving," I said. The word surprised even me. My heart started pounding immediately after. Fear followed. Then anger. Then something deeper. Something that felt like it had been waiting for this exact moment. She exhaled slowly. "Don't do this, Naomi." There it was. My name. Naomi Parker. It sounded distant coming from her. Like it belonged to someone she used to know. "I already did," I said. "You all did." A voice came from inside. "Mom." Charlotte appeared behind her, stepping into the doorway. Her expression froze the moment she saw me. For a second, real emotion cracked through.
Shock.
Then discomfort. Then that same practiced calm. "Oh," she said softly. "You came anyway."
Anyway.
Like I was a mistake. Like I had ignored clear instructions. "I wasn't told not to," I replied. She exchanged a quick glance with our mother. Something unspoken passed between them. Something coordinated. Something planned. "You should go," Charlotte said. Her tone was softer than Mom's, but somehow colder. "We thought this would be easier." "For who?" I asked. Neither of them answered. That was answer enough.
For them.
Always for them. The cold finally started to sink through my coat. My fingers were numb around the gift box. I looked down at it. It had Charlotte's name on it. Carefully written. Neatly wrapped. Thoughtfully chosen. I had spent an hour picking it. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it wasn't. Because it was painfully predictable. I stepped forward. Both of them stiffened. Not out of fear. Out of resistance. I held the gift out toward Charlotte. "For you," I said.
She didn't take it.
She just looked at it. Then at me. Then back at it. "I can't," she said quietly. Of course she couldn't. That would break the agreement. That would disrupt the decision. That would make her human again. I nodded slowly. Then I lowered the box. The silence stretched. Uncomfortable.
Heavy.
Final.
Okay, I said.
And this time I meant it. I turned around. Step by step. The porch creaked beneath my boots. The snow was thicker now. Colder.
Cleaner.
I reached my car. Opened the door.
Paused.
I looked back once. They were still standing there. Watching. Not calling me back. Not stopping me. Just observing the consequence of their decision. I got in. Closed the door. And for the first time since I arrived, I breathed.
Long. Deep. Clear.
Then I started the engine. And drove away. The road stretched out in front of me, dark and empty. Christmas lights flickered in distant houses. Warmth existed somewhere.
Just not for me.
Not tonight. Not anymore. By the time I reached the highway, something inside me had shifted. It wasn't anger anymore. It wasn't even sadness. It was clarity.
Sharp.
Uncomfortable, but undeniable. They had made a decision. So would I. I picked up my phone. My hands were steady now. Strangely steady. I opened my contacts.
Scrolled. Stopped.
Then I pressed call. Ethan, I said when he answered. I need you to cancel everything. There was a pause on the other end. What happened? He asked. It doesn't matter, I replied. It's done. Ethan Caldwell had been my business partner for 3 years. He knew my family. He knew the dynamics. He knew enough not to ask the wrong questions. Are you sure? He asked carefully. Yes, I said. I'm completely sure. Another pause. Longer this time. Okay, he said finally. I'll take care of it. I ended the call. The car felt quieter now. Heavier. But also clearer. Everything I had been holding on to. All the obligations. All the expectations. All the invisible agreements I never signed. They were gone. Not because I let them go. Because they pushed me out. And for the first time, I didn't try to get back in. The next morning, my phone exploded with messages. Missed calls. Voicemails. Texts. All from them.
Mom.
Charlotte. Even my father. The same father who had apparently agreed. I wasn't welcome. I didn't open any of them right away. I made coffee. Sat by the window. Watched the snow fall in silence. Then I opened the first message. It was from Charlotte. Naomi, we didn't know. I stopped reading. Didn't know what? Didn't know I would leave? Didn't know I would accept it? Didn't know I had something they needed? Because that was the twist. The part they hadn't considered. The part they had overlooked in their neat little agreement. The part that changed everything. I owned the company. Not partially. Not jointly. Fully. Legally. Completely. Ethan was the operator. I was the owner. And the company funded almost everything they quietly relied on. Charlotte's lifestyle. My father's investments. Even a house they stood in while telling me I wasn't welcome. I had never used it as leverage. Never even mentioned it. Because family wasn't supposed to work like that. But they had changed the rules. Not me. I opened my email next. Ethan had already sent the notices.
Clean.
Professional. Immediate. All funding suspended. All support withdrawn. All ties severed. I leaned back in my chair. Not satisfied. Not proud. Just still. Because this wasn't revenge. This was alignment. They had made their decision. I made mine. And for the first time, they matched. The calls kept coming. But I didn't answer.
Not yet.
Not until I was ready. Not until I was certain this version of me, the one who didn't beg for a seat at a table she built,
Was the one who stayed.
because some doors don't close loudly. They close quietly. And once they do, they don't open the same way again.